Welcome to the darkness.
Hey, welcome back.
How you guys doing?
Great. Are your toenails clicking on Max?
Wow. I don't even know.
The conversations that we have before we go live are fascinating, aren't they?
It's something.
What? Don't use my toothbrush to clean the toilet. Sorry.
Dude.
I'm telling you. Oh my God. You guys, y'all. So tonight we're doing Dark Valentine, like the darkness of Valentine's Day and kind of how it came to be. And some of the history was not warm and fuzzy. It certainly was not the Hallmark card of today. So it's weird how it got changed around. So there's some oddness to it. Yeah. I don't know. It's never been my favorite day. How about for you guys?
No, it's a Hallmark holiday to me.
Yeah.
I get in my counseling sessions, they call it the Single Awareness Day.
Single Awareness Day.
Yeah, I get a lot of depression during this time. I get a lot of dark thoughts.
I guess like if you're not with someone and
this whole holiday kind of leaves a lot of people out.
It sure does. It sure does. And I don't know how it became. I don't know. Maybe Max will talk about it. And I'm going to talk about the really early history, which some people don't know about. But I wanted to let you guys know. So I release tomorrow night will be a very dark horror story related to Valentine's Day. Nice. It'll be released on Rumble and YouTube tomorrow night, right in time to get your spooky feels on for the evening. Yeah. So Valentine's Day was not a pretty mushy roses and chocolate holiday. So anyway, let's get into the early darkness of it all, right? It was Lupercalia was kind of the original kind of maybe what Valentine's Day was actually based on. I know there's some conflicting stories about this, but it was an ancient pagan festival, of course, because before Christianity, everybody was pagans, right? So it was the ancient pagan festival held in Rome on February 15th. So interesting, right? It was meant to be a purification and fertility ceremony. So some historians believe that Valentine's Day is an offshoot of Lupercalia, and that they kind of, as what they did with most things, they bring in somebody, they canonize them, right, to get people to follow Christianity and to Catholicism. But unlike Valentine's Day, this was a bloody, violent, and charged celebration of nakedness and everything that comes with it. So,
wow.
Yeah, so it was okay.
Well, depending on where you celebrate, it might be that way now too.
Yeah. So
it sorry, is the weekend.
That's right.
Sorry, I'm just trying to remove a comment that just came up.
That was.
People have to do that to us. So I still see it, but I have trying to delete the comment. So anyway, this day was a pretty violent day, and it was full of animal sacrifice and feasts to ward off evil spirits, to ward off infertility. And no one knows exactly the origin of this day, but it's been traced back to 6th century BC. Okay. Yeah, thanks, Simon. Yeah, I don't know who this. Thank you. The festival has ties to kind of the founding of Rome, and according to Roman legend, the ancient king. Okay, I'm going to screw this up. Amulius.
You know, you can say whatever you want. We don't know.
Yeah, I've never heard it before, so that sounds perfect to me.
That's
Me
incredible.
too. Let's go with it.
Amulius. So there was the story, and I remember, I'm sure we've all heard of it, of he ordered Romulus and Remus, his twin nephews, to be thrown into the Tiber River. Okay. And then to drown in retribution because apparently their mother broke a vow of celibacy. So they were supposed to be killed for that. The river god handed this basket, carried a basket down and rescued the brothers and tied the basket to a fig tree where they became caught. They were caught in the branches, tied to the fig tree, and this she-wolf rescued them and cared for the brothers in a den at the base of Palatine Hill. Okay, so this is all part of this legend. The twins were later adopted by a shepherd and his wife, and they ended up going back and killing their uncle. So who had ordered their death. And the brothers also decided to build the city of Rome on Palatine Hill. Okay, so it's thought that Lupercalia took place in honor of the she-wolf and the Roman gods of the shepherds and fertility, because that's who raised them. I thought that was a really interesting story. We always talk about really, legends having a kernel of truth, and you have to wonder where. Yeah, thanks, Simon. Where the kernel of truth is, and it's really hard. There was a lot of ritual sacrifice around this legend. There was, and they did it within the open air meetings in Roman culture. There was priests, Roman priests known as Luperci, and they would actually perform the sacrifices. So we've heard that in the Aztecs and everything else. There was a lot of human sacrifice, a lot of animal sacrifice. People would be smeared with animal blood during the sacrifice. It was just really, really violent and bloody. And it's really interesting at how far we've come today. Right? So
handing out cards and candies.
Handing out cards and roses and chocolates and yeah. You know what? I'd rather have a good steak. Just saying. You know what I mean? Not from a human sacrifice. Let's just
No.
I'm glad you clarified that. That's important.
Yeah. No, I'm not there. So it's kind of, people have thought, and historians have gone back and looked at this legend and looked at some of the history. And of course, we don't have written history, right? So I don't know where this stuff comes from, because even like the Celts, they didn't really have a written language. So everything was verbal, everything was handed down. So how did historians go back and find out this information? They don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not familiar with the Bible. Maybe Doc, you are. Was any of this written in the Bible?
That part that I'm aware of was not. This is the first I'm hearing about this.
Okay. So here's a tradition that they would do for matchmaking. Men would randomly choose a woman's name from a jar, and the couple would spend the duration of the festival together. Often the couple stayed together until the following year's festival. Okay. over time. So that's pretty cool because there was kind of some matchmaking in it. Over time, the naked frivolity of the festival kind of waned, and the festival became more chaste, it says. I don't, yeah. However, women were often whipped on their hands by men.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, here we go again with the whole, it's just very, very dark. So around 4th century AD, Christian leaders in Rome sought to outlaw a lot of the pagan worships and rituals. And I think that's when then we go into Saint Valentine. And Mad Bax, you want to take that part of it?
Absolutely. First, I was just looking at something else real quick. And the funny thing about Valentine's is, hold on. Come on, where are you? There you are. There's a few fun facts about Valentine's Day. And remember we talked a little bit about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, right? And everybody knows the song but nobody knew that it came from Montgomery Ward's, right? And there was the guy that actually did this.
Did you tell us that?
Yeah, we talked about that.
I remember
from Montgomery Ward's
Santa suit, but Montgomery Ward's?
Yeah, the Christmas show.
Yeah,
okay.
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer was actually invented, just to use that slang, by a writer that worked for Montgomery Ward's.
Oh.
And the reason he made it a reindeer, is because his daughter used to like to go down to the park and they watched reindeer all the time at whatever park that they went to. So pretty interesting story, but it's all a gimmick. It's all a gimmick. So I always thought that kind of stuff is cool. But
it is
just
cool.
A few facts about Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day is the second biggest holiday for sending cards. Okay.
Yeah.
145 million cards are exchanged annually.
What is Mother's Day the most popular?
Christmas.
It is still.
Well, the Christmas cards,
yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
okay.
It actually stems from the ancient Roman festival and the Christian martyrs, with Cupid as a Roman god. Today, it's known for heart-shaped chocolates, and do you know anything about vinegar Valentines?
No.
You ever heard of vinegar Valentines? Okay.
I have not.
So vinegar Valentines is a Valentine that would reject suitors. They were very harsh poems. They were Valentines that definitely. If you wanted to have somebody was coming on to you, you would give them a vinegar Valentine. And this was supposed to just shut them down. It was a big thing. Yeah.
And what's it made of?
Paper.
Paper?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, back in my dating world, when in high school and whatnot, I guess I received a couple of vinegar Valentines, but yeah.
Our school was never big on making everybody hand out Valentines. We were mountain kids. We could care less. It was whatever.
I remember in grade school, for one of the years, they just had you hand them out to your friends, and then they had a bunch of kids crying, and then the next year, everybody got
everybody
Valentine.
had to have one.
Yeah. The same thing. I remember in grade school, we'd get a list and of everybody in the class, and teachers included, and you got to go to wherever to buy the Valentine's Days and shit like that, whatever. But we had to make our own little letterbox.
Yeah.
Right. And you could decorate it and all this stuff. And I remember one year, I didn't want to do any of that stuff. So instead of writing, Max on there, I wrote X on every one of them, X. And those people they got together and they figured out that I was X.
Oh.
And I hated it. I hated it. I hated it. So, but
That's
anyhow,
funny.
yeah. So we all know that Cupid's a Roman god. He's an iconic figure that's often depicted with bow and arrow, right? Boxes that, again, here's a marketing thing. Chocolate boxes were invented by Richard Cadbury.
Oh.
And we all know who
Cadbury
the
chocolate.
Cadbury egg. Exactly. And he invented that in 1860s.
Wow.
So
Was that before Coca-Cola did Santa, or was that after Coca-Cola did Santa? And I know we're on Valentine's Day, not on Christmas, but
Right.
Santa was deliberately created by Coca-Cola, and I forgot what year it was. I believe it was when they still used to put cocaine in the cans.
Well, you know what's funny is you got to remember too, it was to reinvent Santa because Santa was originally in green and brown.
Yeah.
And Coca-Cola reinvented him in the red
There
and white,
you go.
and that's what Mud Lover had talked about on that show. And I can't remember what year that was, but yeah, pretty interesting stuff. And you know what's funny is this is the kind of stuff that we just see now. You know, it's just the way it is. The little hearts, you know, they were actually started out as a medical lozenges for sore throats. And they had little, you know, sweet messages on there, like "Hope you feel better" and that kind of stuff. And it kind of, evolved into the hearts that we see now that are printed, which is pretty cool. Proposals and pets are big business right now, especially on Valentine's Day. Around 6 million couples get engaged on Valentine's Day, and millions of dollars are spent on gifts for pets. So I think that stuff's kind of interesting. We talked about, let me swap back over here. I'm not as cool as you guys. I only have the one screen.
Me too. I have one screen.
Yeah, but you just do it better, and I can't figure that stuff out. So we talked a little bit about Colleen talked about the Valentine's, the history of it. You know, that the relics of Saint Valentine were kept in the church in the catacombs in San Valentino, Rome. And I heard something interesting about the Vatican, and I'm going to have to chase a squirrel, but apparently there's a monster, and we talked about this, there's a monster that lives underneath, right? And Jesse had talked about that. But there's a lot of things, a lot of people have gone missing around the Vatican, and they say it's due to this, so I'm going to have to chase that down.
I've been to the Vatican this year. I would believe that. I would tend to believe that.
Yeah, I've never been, but yeah, pretty interesting stuff. They talk, and it's funny how these things just progress. 14th is celebrated for St. Valentine's Day in various Christian denominations, as in the rank of and calendars for Anglican Communion. The feast day of St. Valentine is given the calendar saints in the Lutheran Church. He also remains in the Roman, I hate this word, martyrology.
Own it.
Martyrology. And he's recognized during Mass outside and Christmas time and Easter time. And I'm just kind of looking around and some other stuff. Picasso actually repeated the legend that Pope Julius had built a church over St. Valentine's sepulchre in the 4th century. The legend was picked up as later martyrologies started with Bebe's martyrology in the 8th century. So it's amazing how far back this kind of stuff goes. Yeah. And especially because we don't look at it like, oh, this, that, and the other, la, 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 here's a card, right? No, this stuff is so deep in our history and our traditions. It's incredible. Well, the customs of sending cards and flowers and chocolates and other gifts might have originated in the UK. Valentine's Day still remains connected to various regional customs in England. In Norfolk, a character called Jack Valentine knocks on the rear door of houses, leaving sweets and presents for children. Although he's leaving treats for many children that are scared of this mythical person. And it's just go ahead, please.
That's creepy within itself. Happy Valentine's Day, Jack. He's gonna go knock on your back door.
Yeah. Out here in Idaho, he'd get shot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
The first recorded association of St. Valentine's Day with romantic love is believed in the Parliament of Fowls in 1382 by Chaucer. And he wrote, and this is Middle English, "For this was sent on Valentine's Day, when every fowl cometh there to cheese his mate, of every kind that men think may, and they're so huge a nose gain they make. The earth, the ire, the tray, and every lake, so full was the umph of the space, for me stand so full all the place." Now, we're going to translate that.
That sounded romantic.
I
almost
so glad
wanted
we
to
don't
send
speak
you
like that
flowers.
anymore.
Anyway, that person knows who I'm talking to.
What?
For this was on St. Valentine's Day, when every fowl comes there to choose his mate, for every kind that man may think of, that so huge a noise they begin to make. The earth and air and tree and every lake was so full that not easily were space for me to stand so full of this place. So that was the modern English version of Chaucer's Valentine's Day.
Well, that's interesting because I know that I think that Shakespeare took part of this holiday and morphed it for a lot of his writings. Yeah. I didn't know that Chaucer had any part of this.
Yeah. Well, I think that I think in their aspect of what they did, they would try and make it very timely. Excuse me. So what's going on tomorrow? Well, their Valentine's Day thing, I'm going to come up with something. And I'm going to look longingly into the sky while I'm writing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
So they talked about the Court of Love. The earliest description of February 14th as an annual celebration of love appears in the Charter Court of Love. The charter allegedly issues Charles V of France and Montes la Jolie in 1400 describes very lavish festivities to be attended by several members of the royal court, including a feast, an amorous song, poetry competitions, jousting, and dancing. No other record of this court exists, and none of those named in the charter were present at the Montes except Charles's queen, Isabeau of Bavaria, who may have well imagined it while waiting out a plague.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait. That last one.
Valentine. Did you get into the Valentine himself in your history, or do you want me to take that?
Yeah, if you want to grab that, I did not really get into.
So Valentine himself, and there's two different schools of thought on this, but the most popular legend of Saint Valentine was that he was a priest, a Catholic priest,
Mhm.
who Catholicism, the Romans weren't taken kindly to anybody who was not pagan. Okay, and there was a lot of trying to get people to convert into Catholicism at the time, or Christianity, really.
Yeah.
And boy, I'll tell you what, they were being killed as fast as they were converting. They were being killed. So Valentine, this was taking people into the woods, and he was marrying them under the Christian faith. And it was a really kind of a poke in the eye to the Romans. They didn't want this to be happening because they didn't believe in Christianity. So at the time they didn't. So they ended up dragging Valentine off to jail, where it is said that the jailer's daughter was blind, and with one touch he healed her blindness. But that wasn't enough to stop what was going to happen. And they did torture him and ended up beheading him. And so he became kind of the martyr for love, because people who were in love, he was marrying. And it was totally against what was going on with the Romans at that time. So that was, it's kind of based on a really dark, you had the history before that, and then you have what happened to Valentine himself, and now we give chocolates. It's weird that we've morphed it so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm a huge fan of the chocolate aspect.
I like the chocolates.
I don't have a problem with that. I think I'm going to go to my other machine. I'll be back.
Okay. So, Mudlover, what do you have? I know that you looked into a different stuff.
Well, I'm going to start off by picking up on St. Valentine's. Right before his execution, he crushed violets to make purple ink and wrote a letter to Julia, which was
really
his girl. Yeah. Oh, wow. And signed it "From your Valentine." It says, thus marked the mystical origin of the first Valentine's Day card on February 14th, 270 AD.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's where the whole card aspect came from. I had no idea.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But does anybody know what Red Tuesday is?
No.
Red Tuesday is the Tuesday before Valentine's Day, and that is the day that if a couple is going to break up, that's the day they're going to do it.
Oh, because there's just too much pressure.
Too much pressure.
Yeah.
They start to thinking, are we really have a future together? Do we want to deal with this holiday? So yeah, that's the day that they're going to break up. They think that's the day it's going to happen.
I'm trying to think about my last breakup and when that happened, and it could have been right around that time. Yeah. Interesting. Okay.
Right. So I did come across an interesting story. It's told by the female in the story. So her and her boyfriend had been together for 3 years. They were both broke junior college students, so they agreed that they weren't going to go out for Valentine's Day. And she would just go to his house and he was going to cook a nice dinner. So she gets all pretty, her makeup's flawless, a dress, her hair's all fixed up, tons of hairspray. So, nothing can go wrong, right?
That's how it starts. That's how it starts.
So dinner was good. He decorated his place. There was balloons, candles, and even flower petals. Like they were like in a real fancy restaurant, right? Things were going great. So then after they ate, he reaches over to touch her face. and he knocks over one of the candles. Now, remember, she had tons of hairspray in her hair.
Oh God. Oh.
So her hair caught on fire. So she says at the end, she goes, "Well, on the bright side, I've been meaning to try a pixie cut anyway." So.
Oh my God.
I thought that was kind of cute.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever have a crappy Valentine's Day?
I think I've got some people beat on a crappy Valentine's Day.
Oh, let's hear it, Doc.
Yeah.
I will read the news version, and then I will give my first-hand account version.
The news version. This made the news.
Oh yeah, it was called the Valentine's Day Massacre in McFarland, California, back in 1987.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Bugsy Malone one or whatever it was. Okay.
No. This was high school students.
Oh my God. Okay.
Got into an accident in McFarland. In the newspaper version, on Valentine's Day, 6 teens were killed in a car crash in the country road. This person was nearing the end of their shift. The person who's writing it worked for the radio at the time, and they heard about a serious accident out in the country between McFarland and Delano. When the person rolled up, it was a horrific scene. 2 vehicles, one carrying a group of Delano teens, which there were 2 Delano teens, 1 McFarland female in that. Well, she wasn't in the car, but anyway. And the other car had all McFarland kids. And they did a head-on collision out in the middle of the country at a high speed. There were no skid marks, and everybody thought that they were playing chicken back then. And that's what they called it on the news and everything else. 6 teens end up dying that night. They were killed instantly. 5 others were injured. Though I think there was only 2 survivors out of the accident. The other 2 showed up in other cars. But the 11 teens in the 2 vehicles, and one of them was a Nissan Titan, a little car, truck. They were all packed in there. Major investigation happened that evening. When the person walked up, they were just still in the front seat, and most of them had died on impact. And from what this person see, there was no blood, no dismemberment, and it looked like a bunch of kids sleeping. 2 of them were still wearing their tuxedos because they had just gotten back from prom. And yeah, from what the news guy said, he was very distraught for a long time. The version that I remember, it was after prom. Everybody was at a party, and there was alcohol involved in one of the vehicles. And I remember the police showed up in McFarland, and they kind of broke up the party. And back then, they didn't arrest people. They just told everybody to go home or take it out into the country and go do what you got to do and whatnot. So everybody piled in their cars. We all gave a place where we were going to meet. We're going to meet at Lake Willems, which is in between McFarland and Delano. And I remember my car got loaded down. The car that got into the accident was loaded down, and I had to stop and get gas. In which back then gas was so cheap, I think I only put like 35 cents in, so it didn't really take much. Got behind that car, I'd say about half a mile. I could see their taillights as they were going. And I remember seeing the other taillights coming and just the lights hitting. In the vehicle that I was following, the person that was driving was an ex-girlfriend of mine, and most of them were my classmates, except one of them was in a class above, and there was a exchange student from New York there. And I remember pulling up on the scene right after it happened. Same as he described. I remember looking at their faces and they were inverted. They weren't like how our nose sticks out and our mouth sticks out. A lot of them were pushed in from the impact. I did remember, I remember some of the kids moaning that were still alive. Most of them in the car that was in front of me were dead. The two in the truck, one of them was dead. The other one was still moaning because the engine was on top of them. And you could smell the burnt engine, the burnt flesh. And my friend that was with me ended up calling me over about 30 feet, and another girl that we went to school with, she ended up surviving as well. Went through the windshield, and I remember taking off my coat and putting it on her. And it dawned on me, has anybody called 911? And nobody there, because by that time 2 more cars pulled up. And
was there even 911 at the time?
Yeah. What's that?
There was 911 back then?
There was. Wait, it wasn't 911, as a matter of fact. Did anybody call the ambulance? That's what I had said.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there wasn't cell phones or anything like that. I had to drive to a farmhouse.
Yeah.
And I remember them having big farm dogs, but yeah, it didn't even faze me. Went and slammed on the door. I had to go back to the scene because I had left my best friend there. And by the time we got there, I remember seeing the ambulances come, and the police department was coming, and everybody had, they were scattering already because nobody was in any condition to drive or anything like that. So we ended up leaving. The story still continued because after all of that happened, after the funerals and everything, I ended up graduating from high school and going off to be a medic in the Navy. When I came back, I got a job for the ambulance company that showed up. And the paramedic that landed on that scene was my trainer. And it was even he still remembered that scene. And unfortunately, during that time, again, even the paramedics weren't as tech savvy and knowledgeable as they are now, but they did triage and pretty much called most of them right there on the scene.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really...
But Valentine's Day has never been really exciting for me since that. It's
not after that. That's a terrible story.
It's funny, as I was just looking, so where I grew up, 911 actually, let's see, when was I on the engine? I think I was on the engine in 83, 84, 85. So, and I remember that's when we started getting, we were able to take 911 calls. And it was funny because 911 was supposed to go to the law enforcement first, and then it came to EMS. So that's why I was trying to think of what years I was in. So, but in your area, it might not have, made it to that.
I don't remember actually saying 911 back then.
Yeah, police. Did anybody call the police?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah,
we're getting so accustomed to just throwing that out. Nowadays.
Because I don't remember when my county ended up going that way, but that was a terrific horribly horrible story. I don't know.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Way to go, Doc.
We're talking about the
Yeah.
Valentine's Day,
Yeah.
and here we are. So, Mudlover, did you have any more facts that you wanted, or I have a few things to bring up.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
As you're do you have some more?
Real quick, I have in medieval Europe, mid-February was another connection to romance, and it was called Parliament of the Fowls. And
Sounds so
wrote,
romantic.
I know, huh?
Huh?
The author of the poem notes that the birds came together to seek mates halfway through the second month of the year. And this is how they think the lovebirds came into play with Valentine's Day.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
In parts of Europe, it was believed that February 14th belonged to restless spirits and rejected lovers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they wandered around, the souls wandered around, and if you walked alone on midnight on Valentine's Eve, you would see the ghost of someone who died of heartbreak, or you'd glimpse the face of your future lover or your future doom.
Ooh.
Interesting.
Wow.
That's pretty dark.
That's quite a radius to go in.
I know.
You're either gonna see your true love, the one that's gonna kill you, or something else bad's gonna. That's gnarly.
Yeah,
that's pretty gnarly.
Yeah, that's kind of gnarly. And then something related. It's allegedly Valentine's skull was displayed full of flowers.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. So in Rome, it's a skull, and they would decorate it, and then they would put all these flowers, bouquets in the skull.
Wow.
That kind of like the Dia de los Muertos in Mexico now, but that's more of a Halloween theme.
Yeah. Mad Max, you talked about the vinegar Valentines, right?
Yes.
I guess they're supposed to taunt people, right? They make fun of them.
So there was a couple different ways that you would go with a vinegar Valentine. A vinegar, and yes, Kenny, you are correct.
I'm taking notes.
Not in my.
Kenny, for sure.
Not in my case, though. Not in my case. My feet, never mind. Anyway, so they talked about the vinegar Valentines, and it was something to do with if somebody was trying to come on to you or somebody was trying to court you, right? They would come up with these horrible, and I was looking at a couple of them. Let me see if I can bring another one up. But they were just ruthless.
They kind of look like the garbage pail kids.
Oh my gosh.
Of the 80s.
And they were often anonymous greeting cards from the 19th to the 20th century designed to insult, mock, or reject recipients rather than offer love.
Wow.
And some of these pictures are just horrible. And so they would feature caricatures and harsh poems that they target unwanted suitors, specific professions, social behaviors, often arriving on Valentine's Day as what? Hate mail. So yeah, it was pretty interesting. They featured very grotesque, exaggerated caricatures, and targets include. This is one of my favorite words in the English language, and let me see which one if you guys know what it is. The targets included old maids, dandies, flirts, heavy drinkers, and nagging wives. Annoying salespeople, suffragettes were sometimes targeted. I love the word dandy.
Dandy's a great
I
word.
love the word dandy.
Boy, that's a
Um,
dandy.
You're a daisy if you do. But the common thread of these was usually bluntly telling someone that they're unwanted.
Wow.
That's a vinegar Valentine.
That's
That's
a vinegar
rough.
Valentine. So
You know, you pour your heart and soul into somebody, and you tell that person that, you know what, I love you, and she looks at you and laughs and goes, "Oh."
Or she tells
So-
you, "Thank you."
yeah. There was another old English superstition, and it was to control fate. Some girls would wake before dawn and sit by a window, and they would hope to see a desirable suitor, not the local drunk or the elderly neighbor. Yeah, so imagine locking eyes with the wrong person.
Mm.
So whoever they locked eyes with, that was their fate.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dang.
It's kind of
Yeah.
rough.
And I'm telling you what, I'm about to kill this kitten. She is the loudest thing. I don't know if you guys can hear her, but she's driving me
I
crazy.
just did. Yeah.
Oh, and she does this all night long.
Fun.
Yeah, so what I was looking at, because there's some question about who was Valentine. Some say he was a priest in Rome, or he was a bishop of Terni. I don't know where Terni was, but I'm not quite sure anybody will ever know, like, who really was. I think it's really interesting, though, that for so long ago, the Valentine that he wrote, the letter that he wrote in the purple or pink pen,
purple violets,
purple violet, right? That has lasted till 2026. It's like, that's still going on. That's crazy to me that something like that can last that long.
That is kind of cool. And you know what's funny is you talked earlier about how the Romans, and you know, if you think about a lot of the stuff we end up talking about, it comes from the Romans. The Romans did so much to kick us in the tail, but they would get drunk and just party. And then if you love somebody, you'd kill a dog and beat them with the dog. I just like, and that's where we've evolved
nothing
into.
Says love, like,
wow, nothing says love like getting assaulted by a dead carcass.
Golly.
There's some questions about Valentine himself, like what really happened to his body, because allegedly the skull is still in Rome, and they decorate it with flowers, and that his bones are in Dublin, and there are pieces, part of his skeleton also in Prague, Madrid, and Glasgow. So I'm not sure, like, he was picked apart and then shipped all over the world, like people wanted a part of him.
I would believe that. I truly would believe that. When I went to Rome, there were human bones scattered everywhere, either in the catacombs and churches. It was not uncommon to go someplace and them show you, oh, look at this pile of skeletons, and
yeah. Well, you have to give him props for at least believing what he did believe, to marry the couples that he did marry, because he had the faith. Right. But he knew inevitably he was going to be caught, and if people were being murdered for their beliefs, then I don't know. The whole history of it is very dark. So, like I said, I don't know does anybody have anything else? I know that we did not cover Al Capone's Valentine's Day Massacre, which is where I thought you were going, Doc. Yeah. So, on if none of you have heard about this, well, Al Capone was the legendary bad guy. He was a Chicago and New York, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't this in Chicago, though, the massacre?
It was in Chicago, I believe.
Yeah. So he had a bunch of his henchmen dress up like police officers and they lined up some of the opposing gang members and executed them in an unbelievably violent scene. And so that, I mean, that also happened on St. Valentine's Day. It's like, how many messages do we need to tell us that this is really a dark and very bad day? You know, like Celeste says on Wednesday show, how many signs do I need? You know, when we're asking the universe for a sign that maybe this is not necessarily a good day.
See, and
what
then
I'd like to know from listeners is if they'd leave a comment later, or let us know if they've actually had wonderful Valentine's days and great luck. Have you guys? I haven't. Of course, you two, I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
You guys are the picture of love, though.
You know why? You know why we're like this, right? Because she's up there and I'm down here.
Oh, I was going to say alcohol, but okay.
Distance makes the heart grow fonder, huh?
It does.
Okay.
In the Navy, we had a follow-up to that saying where they say absence makes the heart grow fonder of someone else. Of someone else.
Of someone else? Yeah.
No implication, Max and Mud Lovers, none at all. Okay.
I don't know. I absolutely hate this holiday. I know I'm Debbie Downer,
stressful.
but I don't like it. I don't like the stress it puts on everybody. I don't like you know, everybody has to spend money and take everybody out for dinner and this and that. And it's ridiculous because we already have a very stressful life. We all do.
Exactly.
And we don't need any more stress placed on us. And I think if you're, and I'm going to say it, if you're one of those women who are really demanding of your partner to get you something, that's ridiculous. It is. But yeah,
I would say I'm like Max and Mud Lover. I have found my special someone. It wasn't on Valentine's Day, and in all honesty, we really don't celebrate Valentine's Day because if you find the right partner, that can be every single day, and it should.
You're so mushy, dog.
Yeah.
She's right there, by the way.
She's listening.
Going like this.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
Well, hey, you know, it's funny that you say it like that, Doc, because you're right, and not to pile on or whatever, but you're right, you know, and when you do find that person, it's very fortunate, and I think Mud Lover got kind of lucky.
So do you know when they started mass producing the cards?
No.
1840.
1840?
In 1840?
Yeah. 1840.
Wow.
And by the early 1900s, printing was improved so much that more people could afford to purchase them.
So you didn't have to send vinegar. You could actually just buy a card and tell people.
You could.
No hate mail.
No hate mail.
No vinegar Valentines.
Yeah.
Well,
they
might have made those pre-made
Kenna
vinegar cards.
In the comments had a very good comment here. Instead of celebrating romance, celebrate love. Love for friends, animals, people, and anything that brings you joy. I like that.
Right. That
is awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Way to go, Kenna. Knock that one out of the park, Kenna.
Yeah. I absolutely believe in that. And maybe this holiday, so all of my farm animals love frosted cookies. You know, the kind that you get when you walk into your grocery store and they have the icing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the soft ones.
They love them.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what I'll do. I will buy all of the farm animals a special holiday treat.
Oh.
That'll make me feel better.
Yeah, that's sweet.
About
That's
being
sweet.
alone again on this bloody holiday. No, actually, I never celebrated it anyway when I was
Right.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I thought I didn't like the pressure. It's like, nope,
No.
just give me a beer and let me stay at home and I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine.
And it's funny that you say that because I was like Mud Lover. It's always been a Hallmark holiday.
Mhm.
Somebody invented something to do something else. And now that we're looking so far back, again, the Romans broke this stuff wide open, and it was prior to them.
Yeah.
You know,
was
I
prior
mean,
to
it got, I mean, when St. Valentine was marrying people out in the woods because he was going to get in trouble, geez Louise, it's incredible. And now we've evolved into a heart-shaped pizza and going and seeing a movie,
Yeah.
which is cool
Yeah.
because that's what me and Metal Lover are going to do.
I'm down for the heart-shaped pizza all day.
I can handle the pizza. That would be okay. Yeah. All right, everybody. I don't know that we have much more to talk about on this this thread, but thank you for hanging in there with us. Go back, and tomorrow night I release a horror story of St. Valentine's. So I think you guys will like it. And I'm going to be doing a lot more of those because I really enjoy that dark, creepy stuff. So anyway, thanks everybody for watching us, and we'll catch you later, and be safe.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Same to you, lady.
Yeah.